Well, let's begin from the U.S. Embassy here in Accra, because pressure group Arise Ghana has decided to temporarily suspend its protest at the U.S. Embassy in Accra, where they had been demanding the deportation of former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. The group says it's giving the American authorities time to respond to their petition and offer assurances on efforts to facilitate Ofori-Atta's immediate return to Ghana. However, they are clear, if they don't get the assurances they're looking for, the picket will be back, and this time there's no end in sight. There's more in the following report.
Since Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, a Ghanaian national and a former Minister of Finance, whose presence in Ghana is being sought by appropriate state institutions to respond to matters arising within established constitutional, legal, and accountability frameworks. Commitment to due process and rule of law. This request is guided neither by prejudice nor presumption of guilt, but by Ghana's enduring commitment to due process, transparency, accountability, and the rule of law as enshrined in its constitution and democratic practice. Bilateral relations and shared democratic values. Ghana and the United States of America share a long-standing and cordial relationship founded on diplomatic values, good governance, mutual respect for sovereignty, and cooperation in matters of justice and institutional accountability. It is in this spirit of partnership and mutual respect that this petition is respectfully submitted, with the understanding that the facilitation of lawful processes strengthens public confidence in democratic institutions and reinforces international norms of accountability. Request for diplomatic assistance or guidance. We humbly request that the embassy, within the bounds of diplomatic mandates and applicable international and domestic laws, consider providing any assistance or guidance that may support efforts aimed at facilitating the return of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta to Ghana to engage constructively with relevant state institutions. Good faith. In good faith and in recognition of the United States government's commitment and consideration of this petition.
Provisional National Road Safety Authority figures show motorcycle-related crashes jumped from 488 cases in December 2024 to 660 in December 2025. Motorcycles now account for more than 27% of all the vehicles involved in crashes nationwide, up slightly from last year, underscoring their growing role in Ghana's road safety crisis. In December 2025 alone, a total of 2,406 vehicles were involved in reported crashes across the country, with motorcycles, private vehicles and commercial vehicles all recording year-on-year increases, an indication that road safety conditions are deteriorating on our roads. Well, joining me now in the studio is a member of our research desk as we just look at the figures from what we have gotten today. Jason Day, walk us through what exactly is accounting for the figures we're seeing in the data.
Yes, firstly, you see, over the years, crashes have been a problem for Ghana. Okay, and just last year, we've seen that vehicles that have been involved in crashes alone have increased by 8.5%. The number of vehicles that actually are involved in crashes. So if a vehicle crashes another vehicle or something, right, that's what happens, right? So we see that over here, this figure you see over here, 24,938 vehicles were actually recorded to have been involved in crashes this year. And that figure has increased by 8.5% from...
So that's 2025?
Yes, 2025.
Comparing the figure to 2024?
Yes, yes. And I want you to look at the vehicles involved, because very soon I'll tell you a story about why the motorcycles story is important. But right now, let's look at the numbers, right? We see over here that motorcycle crashes, that's out of the earlier figure that I showed you, 6,548 were motorcycles.
I see.
Exactly. So the question now really raised, and that has really risen by 19.4%.
Compared to 2024.
Compared to 2024. So that story really, the team has really just been trying to figure out what's really happening and all those things. But all we can actually see is the numbers. And then another one that we actually couldn't really figure out was this particular graph that I want to show you. See, this graph tells us a story about the types of vehicles that were actually involved in crashes over the year, right? In 2024, which is in blue, we actually see that 2024 is in blue, 2025 is in red. So you see that in all cases, 2025 graph is higher than in 2024. That means in all cases, all types of vehicles, that is commercial, private cars, and motorcycles have increased. But you see,
in terms of crashes?
Yes, in terms of crashes, right? Those involved in crashes, right? But you see that for motorcycles, right, what we see is really fascinating because the figure there, compared to how small this has changed, and how small this has changed, tells a story about why motorcycles are really causing all this damage.
Over 19%.
Yes, over
increase.
19%.
Yeah.
So you see, it begs the question that are these motorcycles really happy about the passing of the law of making them legal? What exactly is causing this? All these things bring in the question, right? And I want to show you, for December alone, last year, that's just last month, we see that there were 660 crashes by motorcycles. That is 33% more than the 24 figure.
I see. And thank you so much, Jason, because you've been poring over the figures. It's time now to get answers. Carlos?
Well, let's speak to Abraham Amaliba. He is in charge of the National Road Safety Authority here in our country. Grateful for your time here on JoyNews Prime. The National Road Safety Authority's own provisional data that we've been discussing shows a 33.25% rise in motorcycle crashes within a year. The question is, what specifically failed in your enforcement or education strategy during that period?
Well, you know, the motorcycle riders, popularly known as Okada, are an illegal activity engaged in. And so National Road Safety has no jurisdiction to, as it were, provide them with safety education and any other form of road safety education. So, and that is why the legalization is important. You can now deal with a legal entity. And so when they are legalized, it frees the hands of National Road Safety to go and gather them and provide them with safety and attach safety officers to their various groupings. That is the unions they would belong to. So that safety officer will permanently be attached to them and provide them with education. But for now, anybody who can ride a motorbike and because of unemployment, mounts on his motorbike and say, I'm doing commercial business with Okada, will result into what we are seeing. So let's ensure that we legalize them so that we will have a free hand to also visit them, give them legal education, I say legal education, road safety education, as well as license them to do the right things.
Right. And poor helmet use and speeding have been identified as some of the major factors. How many arrests or sanctions were actually enforced against offenders in December 2025?
That statistics will be with the police. We are not an enforcement agency. We are a regulatory agency. But we partner the MTTD sometimes to do enforcement. So the statistics will be with the figures will be with the MTTD as to the number of people they have arrested and prosecuted in terms of not using the right helmet. When the law is passed, there is a specific helmet that they will be required to be wearing. It's not some of the helmets that they are wearing now are even a danger to they themselves because they are not up to standard. They are tough standards. And these helmets would normally speed up their death because when they crash, the helmets go to the step of hooking them in their head. And so they die out of even the helmets they are wearing.
Right. So before the law you talk about comes into effect, what is the National Road Safety Authority doing as an interim measure to curb the crashes?
We intend to, because the reason why these accidents are on the rise are threefold. One, driver indiscipline. Two, pedestrian indiscipline as well. And three, the nature of the roads. The driver indiscipline has to do with overspeeding on the part of the driver and not having regard to road signs and road safety regulations. For the pedestrian indiscipline, is where pedestrians who are on the road would normally not pay attention, be fidgeting with their phones, some have headphones on their head, and all those things. Then, with the bad roads, sometimes the road could even be good by engineering, poor engineering. And that's why sometimes you hear that, oh, this particular spot is always causing accidents. This particular spot, these are what we call black spots.
So what is the National Road Safety Authority doing to, prevent these accidents in the interim?
Road Safety Authority has to intensify road safety campaigns. During the Christmas, we were able to partner Bloomberg to do some education. But moving forward, we will receive funds from the road fund, and we shall intensify our efforts. Now, it is on record that anytime the National Road Safety Authority is able to intensify its campaign, road crashes reduce it. And I'm happy to inform you that this year, the road fund has agreed to give us some money, and we would roll out very soon the campaigns.
Thank you so much, Abraham Amaliba is the Acting Director General of the National Road Safety Authority.
Still on our roads, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority says it has given the Vehicle Endorsement Association of Ghana an option to engage with OMEL, the company that won the contract to manufacture and emboss number plates, if it also wants to render such services. The Vehicle Endorsement Association of Ghana has filed an injunction at the High Court in Accra asking the DVLA to be restrained from rolling out digital or any new vehicle number plate registration system beginning January 2026. There's more in the following report.
According to the Vehicle Endorsement Association of Ghana, VMAC, the DVLA has awarded both the manufacturing and embossment of number plates to a single company, Original Manufacturing and Embossment Limited, OMEL, owned by Dr. Nyako Esumedu Apia, also known as Dasibre. The association says this move is unusual and goes against long-standing practice, describing DVLA's decision as illegal and discriminatory. However, DVLA insists OMEL won the contract legitimately under the previous government. The CEO of DVLA, Julius Nikwe Korte, spoke about this while rendering an account of his first year in office.
A company, an institution that's open for restrictive tendering. You've all go to tender for the contract. You lost. Now you think there's a new government. You come to me and tell me that I shouldn't allow the man to work. And I asked you, why shouldn't I allow him to work? You couldn't say it. Now, so if you had won, would you have come to me to tell me that I shouldn't allow you to work? Then he was quiet.
According to a deputy CEO of DVLA, Foster Akosi Asante, the authority met members of VMAC and gave them an option to either engage OMEL, who want the contract to sublet it to its members, or continue the court case.
Leadership of VMAC met us, and we spoke about two options. we told them that our meeting with them was not a call for an out-of-court settlement, but was to judge with them and give them other alternative routes that they can use. Because as it stands, we know that there is a valid contract, so it may serve their interest if they should contact OMEL, who has the contract to manufacture and emboss.
Mr. Korte also raised concerns about the number of companies who emboss number plates and its security implications.
I was with Mr. Bona and the team at Pokwasi, and we saw one woman. She's an elderly woman who has placed number plates all over her store. So I went there and said, "Madam, I want plates." I said, "Mommy." She doesn't know me. So I wrote the number for her and I asked her, "When can I come for?" I said, "Bra, I 300 cedis." Next day I went and she gave me the number. You can imagine if I have issues with Mr. Leo, and I hate him so much that I want to deal with him. All I'll do is that I'm a serious armed robber. I'll just look at Mr. Leo's car number, put it on my number plate, use it for armed robbery, leave the car there, and who'll be arrested.
On the legalization of Okada, the CEO said Okada riders will be taken through thorough training before they are issued license.
But in convention, we would like each and every Okada rider to be identified under a cooperative because of the insurance package the cooperatives are also going to lobby for. So when there's any accident, we know who must come in and who must help in terms of insurance issues.
Well, moving on, President John Dramani Mahama has revealed government plans to establish Ghana's first ever cyber and electronic warfare center at the Tamale Air Force Base, aimed at enhancing surveillance along the country's borders. According to the president, the state-of-the-art facility will also be equipped with assault capabilities to defend the country in the event of any external threat. He spoke at the Ghana Armed Forces 2025 West Africa Soldiers Social Activity WASA in Accra. There's more in the following report.
President John Mahama joined hundreds of military officers and top government officials, including the finance minister, who also acts as defense minister, Dr. Kasila Tuforsen, and the interior minister, Mohamed Muntaka Mubarak, among others. In his address, the president stressed the need to adequately fortify the country's armed forces, particularly in the wake of growing insurgencies in neighboring countries.
Plans are also well advanced to procure armored personnel carriers, strategic drones, and advanced communication systems to establish Ghana's first state-of-the-art cyber and electronic warfare center in the northern sector. As I announced earlier, we're going to set up a cyber and electronic warfare center at the Tamale Air Force Base. And this center will be responsible for maintaining surveillance of our borders, and also will have an assault capacity in the event that our country comes under any attack.
He added that government plans to establish 2 additional military units in the Oti and Central regions to further strengthen Ghana's security architecture.
The government has also taken the strategic decision to establish 2 new military units in the Oti and Central regions. This initiative reflects emerging security dynamics and the need to strengthen our national response framework.
President Mahama also commended the military for their role in restoring relative calm in Boko and other conflict-affected areas.
I wish to commend the collective efforts of the armed forces under Operation Gongong and Operation Maidaburi in Boko and its environs. Peace and security are the bedrock of development, and your professional conduct during these operations has significantly contributed to the relative calm we are witnessing in these areas today.
Meanwhile, Acting Defense Minister Dr. Kasila Tuforsen says the country continues to enjoy peace and steady progress across all sectors through the guidance of the President.
Mr. President, under your guidance, our nation continues to enjoy peace and steady progress across all sectors. Your economic reset and good governance continue to anchor the happiness and hope of the Ghanaian people.
The president later presented a fleet of vehicles to the Ghana Armed Forces and cards sought for an accommodation project for military personnel. The Chief of Defense Staff, General William Ajapon, commended the government for its continued commitment to supporting the Ghana Armed Forces.
On behalf of the Military High Command and the entire Ghana Armed Forces, I wish to express our heartfelt gratitude to the government's unwavering commitment to our welfare, operational readiness, and capacity building initiatives.
Together, these initiatives signal the government's renewed commitment to strengthening national security and modernizing the Ghana Armed Forces to effectively respond to both present and emerging threats. For Joy News, Fatau Bayaga, Accra.
Away from that, the United States has officially withdrawn from the World Health Organization and in its membership and cutting off funding to the global health body. The decision follows an executive order signed by President Trump, who accused the WHO of mishandling the COVID-19 pandemic and being overly influenced by China. U.S. authorities say the organization has failed to reform and has allowed political interests of member states to undermine its core mission. Well, here at JoyNews, we've been pouring over this, and then Jason joins me back in the studio. Jason, we know that there's more to come when it comes to the different organizations that the U.S. is exiting. Tell us more.
Yes, so we already know that last year, Trump pulled U.S. aid out of various things, and now he has actually completed the withdrawal from the World Health Organization. We know that it started early January, around this time, same time, January 2025, just after he was sworn in. He signed an executive order that he wanted the U.S. out of the WHO, and which is what, the reasons he stated is what you've actually just told the public, that he didn't like how they handled the COVID-19 pandemic and all that. But then, all this while, why has it taken a year? And why all these things? Why it's taking so long for him to actually complete this order is what I want to tell you. And I also tell you how much that the WHO will actually be suffering. But before I get there, I just want to tell you that before, in that 1 year, what they have done is they've terminated all their funding to the WHO, which is a huge sum, which I'll show you soon. They've also pulled out all their troops that they've sent with the WHO to do all those kinds of assignments to help all those things. And it's a very massive investment that the US has actually put in the WHO. They've decided to actually come out from. What they've also done is they've ended the participation in making governance body decisions that who actually uses in making preparations and all those things. And now, it's not like the US is pulling out of WHO so they won't contribute to health problems worldwide. What they have done, or what they've been doing since January 25 when they signed the executive order, is that they have pivoted towards other health organizations that help in all those things. So the US may be pulling out of that, and I'll show you how much is actually hurting them. $111 million US that has been actually going to the WHO from the US annually. This is not something, this is on average, since they started helping WHO, they've been paying mandatory fees of $111 million US. Now the WHO is not going to receive this money anymore. Sometimes within the year, they decide that, they want to help WHO and its assignments and all those things, and they've been adding up this, and on average, those add up have been $570 million US.
That's outside the mandatory dues?
Yes, for STEAM.
That's a lot of money.
Also, that 570, WHO is not going to get anymore. But this does not mean that WHO is not going to receive any funding from the US. What it does is now it's just going to work with them, but limited. It's going to be a loan, just a one-on-one thing, and just going to be something small, and then they move on.
I see. Well, thank you so much, Jason. You're still watching JoyNews Prime. We'll be back after this quick turn. Please stay with us.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. Let's go back to our earlier story on the U.S.'s pulling out of WHO. And let's speak now to Dr. Daniel Kipo-Sunyezi. He is a research fellow at the Lagos Center for International Affairs and Diplomacy. Grateful for your time here. You've seen the U.S. contribution to WHO. What does their exit from the World Health Organization mean for global health financing?
Thank you very much to dear viewers and listeners. Absolutely, the exit of US is certainly a bad news for the world. Africa and every country should be worried because the United States is the biggest donor or the country that gives chunk of the money to support the World Health Organization. So US going means that a vacuum or a gap is created. And so we should be seeing which country will take over. Some of the reasons that they have said is that they are paying so much, but they are not seeing the actions of the World Health Organization. Especially one of the reasons that they gave us that the manner in which the World Health Organization managed COVID funds, and the World Health Organization was a bit lenient, maybe politically, they will put it that they couldn't take serious drastic measures against China, especially when there were information that this COVID emanated or the pandemic came from Wuhan, China. So they felt that the body should have been very, very swift, should have taken some action, get into the lab where certain things were there and take serious measures. All this in the United States felt that the UN agency was a bit not so proactive, was a bit lenient, or to use the word, not showing a lot of good political will to take China on. And this, among other things, are the reason why the United States decided that they will withdraw, and it's a lot of money that will go. And we are expecting possibly China and other states may have to step in to fill the gap. Otherwise, our health will be at risk in terms of polio, in terms of HIV, in terms of mpox, a whole lot of all these vaccinations, all these things are going to be a big problem.
Yeah, so in fact, talking about impacts, I was just going to ask you how this is actually going to affect developing countries like Ghana, especially in Africa, with a pullout. Apart from the immunization you've mentioned, which other areas should we be much more concerned about?
Even World Health Advisory Note. It is the money that the World Health Organization has. They're able to conduct research, and they're able to come out, give a lot of health advisory notes to member states to take measures. This research component is going to suffer. The number of companies that sometimes are contracted, some state organizations are given some health way of managing epidemics and pandemics. All this rapid response will suffer because it's all about monitoring. And the whole world will be at risk unless we get another country that is willing to step in, especially China. United States have consistently mentioned and the opportunity that we will look up to see China step up, increase double whatever they are giving, so that the world body or the World Health Organization, agency that is to take care of the health of the people, will not suffer. Otherwise, everybody else will be at risk, including the Americans themselves, because this is a global body that is able to go around everywhere and they're able to gather information for the safety of the world.
All right.
So every state is at risk. Maybe the developing countries will suffer more. As you said, Americans are putting it that they may diversify. They may possibly not give it to the global body, but they will tighten their domestic health. We who depend on them may suffer most, because we will not have the money to be able to do these issues.
We'll leave here Professor Daniel Dramani is a research fellow at the International Affairs and Diplomacy at the University of Ghana.
Away from that, the battle lines are forming in Ayawasu East as the race to replace the late MP picks up. Political activity is rising in both the NDC and NPP camps, with the widow of the late lawmaker Hajia Amina Adam officially throwing her hat into the ring. At least 3 hopefuls have declared interest in the NDC ticket, including Ghana's ambassador to Nigeria. The Electoral Commission has set Tuesday, March 3, 2026 for the by-election.
The Ayawasu East parliamentary seat is taking shape, with Hajia Amina Adams' announcement drawing mixed reactions. Critics say the timing comes too soon after her husband's passing, while supporters praise her decision to continue his work. The Electoral Commission on January 16 set March 3 for the by-election following the MP's death under Article 112, Subclause 5 of the 1992 Constitution. The EC must organize a by-election whenever a parliamentary seat becomes vacant. In a statement on Thursday, January 22, Hajia Adam said her decision was influenced by repeated appeals from constituents, grassroots members, and traditional leaders. Her declaration also revives historical interest in Ghana's politics, where spouses of deceased MPs have sometimes contested and won. Some residents in the constituency have shared their expectations.
It will be difficult for her to stand or to win the election. It will be difficult for her. But let's put our fingers across and then see what will happen. With support, we will support her. I mean, it's like election. Someone will be like, I will support her. The person will go behind the polling station or behind the ballot box, and then the person will be like, oh, I won't allow this, so let me just give it to the man.
Everybody is expressing his opinion, but we are waiting for 7th February for us NDC to nominate our parliamentary candidate. You know, East Ayawasu has been a backbone and NDC purely constituency since '92. So everybody is looking up to the NDC.
Meanwhile, Deputy Director of Elections and IT, Rashid Tanko Computer, believes the party remains resolute and confident in securing victory.
The contest will be very civil. It will be straight to the point. Others will come in, and then the delegates will decide who should lead them.
The NPP is also refusing to be sidelined in the by-elections.
Over the year, that appears to be the trend. Quite worrying, though, but well, that's what it is. And the NDC, I'm told, would be going through the process of selecting, how do you call it, their candidate through primaries, for which reason we cannot for now say that the lady would automatically emerge the candidate.
The NDC will begin receiving nominations on Saturday, January 24. Even before the process starts, some individuals are already showing interest in contesting the seat on the party's ticket.
Now, still on politics, former Majority Leader Osei Mensah Bonsu has dismissed claims of organized parliamentary backing for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia during the NPP's 2024 flag-bearer race, insisting the former vice president remains on course to win the party's primary set for January 31. His remarks come amid renewed calls for unity within the New Patriotic Party as concerns over internal divisions intensify. There's more in the following report.
With less than a week to the NPP's flag-bearer election, party leaders are stepping up calls for unity, warning that internal disagreement could weaken the party ahead of the votes. The issue featured prominently during the signing of a peace pact by all 5 aspirants on Thursday, aimed at promoting discipline and cohesion before, during and after the primaries. Alexander Fenyo-Markin is minority leader in parliament.
Whenever the MPP is united, it is formidable, and whenever it is divided, it bleeds, and Ghana pays the price. Remember the 1979 election, the PFP and the UNC. The rest, we all know.
Even as unity calls grow louder, controversy over the 2023 flag-bearer election has resurfaced. Speaking on Asempa FM's Ekusi saying, Osei Mensah Bonsu rejected allegations that the party's parliamentary caucus was directed to support Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, claims made by senior party figures including Professor Frimpong Boateng and Peter Amewu.
In the past election, I would say the playing field was not level at all. It was a fact. I sat in cabinet and I know, and I talked to my colleague ministers, and I don't know what happened at that time. The party executives, the members of government, including top government officials, They all tailored towards one particular candidate, which we know, obviously.
But Osechi Mensah Bunzu insists the progress was competitive, transparent, and devoid of manipulation.
If people have trust in you, regardless, regardless, I don't want to recline and then deal with those matters because as I'm saying, me dancing. Yes. Nobody spoke to me. Say, oh, any MPs. I was a leader at the time. So any MPs in Kasa. And I said, no, nobody.
With the flag-bearer election just days away, tensions remain high as party leaders continue to push for discipline and cohesion in what remains a tightly contested race.
Away from politics, the Minister for Communications, Digital Innovation and Technology, Sam George, says the government is focused on shifting from merely training people in digital skills to ensuring employability and job creation. Speaking at the launch of Code for Food Security program, he emphasized that the initiative, such as the Code for Food Security project and the 1 Million Coders program, are both designed to help Ghanaian youth transition into advanced fellowships. There's more in the following report.
A new initiative has been rolled out aimed at empowering the youth and promoting digital innovation within Ghana's agricultural sector. Communications Minister Sam George reaffirmed government's commitment to ensuring that participants enrolled in the 1 Million Coders program not only acquire digital skills, but also are positioned to work remotely and offer services across the continent.
My dream as minister is not to train 1 million people. Training 1 million people is just like ticking a box in a KPI list. That's not what President Mahama said to me when he appointed me as minister. Yes, the manifesto said we will train 1 million people. But President Mahama's vision is to have 1 million young Ghanaians who are trained and get employed. So it's not about the training, it's about the employability. It's about how those 1 million coders can begin to work remotely, serving the rest of Africa and the rest of the world.
The Chief Executive Officer of Blossom Academy, Jeff Echampong, noted that the academy, which is responsible for providing data training under the program, is focused on creating new markets and expanding remote work opportunities through its training modules.
Majority of the companies we work with are not data-driven yet. So when they hire people from us for the first time, it's the first time they actually become data-driven. And when they understand the importance of hiring a data professional, they build a team of data talent, which allows us to create jobs as well. Another thing we're also doing is looking into remote work, realizing that there are a plethora of jobs abroad, and we can actually get young people to be able to work remotely. For example, at Blossom Academy, one of our alumni is currently earning $6,500 a month working remotely. For us, that's transformation. So we need to think about how we can create new markets, but also create remote opportunities for more young people as well.
Abdul Malik, a student with disability enrolled in the program, encouraged others facing similar challenges to remain resilient and not allow their conditions to limit their pursuit of such opportunities.
Well, I'll just tell my people that it's difficult sometimes to go to places that people aren't expecting you to go, but we don't need to give up. We just need to be resilient. And we don't just advocate for our voices to be heard, but we should be part of making the history. So
the program is designed to provide intensive cohort-based training that blends theory with practical application, equipping participants with skills needed to develop technology-driven solutions tailored to local challenges across the food systems value chain. For Joy News, Nancy Kumson and Lois Kobnes report. Back to you.
Away from that, for over 3 decades, pupils of the Kufreda Sreso Basic School have pursued knowledge in classrooms without walls, where lessons compete with the weather, hunger, and even the threat of snakes. Joy News' Anna Sabit reports on a school forgotten by time, where children trek for water, learn on empty stomachs, and sit the same exams as their city counterpart, all while waiting for the basic dignity of a proper roof over their heads.
In the heart of the Tichima municipality, a school stands as a testament to both community hope and systemic neglect. For over 3 decades, it has been the only beacon of learning for 5 communities, But here, education isn't confined by walls. It is exposed to the elements. This is the reality of the pupils of Koforidua Sreso Basic School.
Since the time the school block was constructed, there's no renovation and there's no any additional infrastructure here.
Established in the year 1991 with just 3 classrooms, this school's student body has grown. Its infrastructure, however, has gone organic. What you see are not makeshift shelters. These are the official permanent classrooms for over 100 children. Tim Nimo Job is the headmaster of the school.
So if you look at the school should have been 8 classrooms, but if you look here, we are only having 3 classrooms, which is not helping teaching and learning. So if you look at the students here, we have only 3 classes that are in the classrooms. The entire 5 are under trees. When it's a rainy season, we cannot teach. When it's Hamatan, you cannot teach.
Compounding the challenge of learning outdoors is the pang of hunger. Unlike many public schools, Sreso Basic does not benefit from the Ghana School Feeding Program.
And if you look at the distance from Tanoso to here, the school is not having a feeding program. So when you teach to around 12 o'clock, you see the students moving and looking tired and others because of what? Hungry.
James Kusi teaches 2 classes at once, primary 1 and 2. He explains how difficult the situation has been over the years.
It's not easy, all that easy. It's very difficult because, 2 classes and each class has its own syllabus. But at times, since they are 2, you have to teach one subject, or if you are to teach P1, you have to teach both P1 and 2.
Due to the absence of doors and ceilings, snakes slide in from the bush into the classrooms, disrupting lessons sometimes.
We are surrounded by bush, so and trees are also nearer to the school building. So at times, the snake pass through the snake the trees, and then they enter the top there. And at times, you come and meet snakes under the chairs of the mono desk. Yeah.
So we appeal to them to just come and have a look at the school and give us a helping hand.
So this has been the terrible situation for pupils and teachers here at the Koforidua Sreso MA Basic School. Reporting for Joy News, my name is Anas Sabit.